Good afternoon, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from Miter McLean, and I'm going to lead you today through your 45-minute just mindful mind-body practice. We're going to go ahead and get started in Savasana. I feel like it's been a while since we started our class in Savasana. And it's that magical time right now. Sorry, Facebook changed today, and I was just so old lady confused. Okay, so grab your drinks, grab your props, make your way to your floor space. Everybody, welcome. Okay, so pardon me, my area is a mess, but honestly, I bet that some of your spaces are also just not at their most ideals right now. And all we can do is our best. Just create the best focus that you can. All right, so we're laying down on our backs. We're going to start by just coming into our breath. Starting your Savasana with everything in close towards the center line of your body. Feel free to take your first couple of breaths, maybe even a full minute here, to really figure out how you can best relax, maybe shake out the tension that you might be feeling in your glutes and your legs and your knees and your shoulders, so you can just start to melt into your mat. As always, I encourage you to either close your eyes or find one spot on the ceiling or the wall in front of you to focus your eyes to help relax your mind. If your eyes are moving, your mind is moving, take this time to slow down your heart rate by slowing down the length of your exhale. Take a focus today truly on your breath, always making sure that you are in control of your breath in the postures, and not that you've come into a posture so deep that it limits or controls your breath. Also think about the idea of breathing so quietly and slowly in the stillness that you are creating that if there's anyone else in the room, they wouldn't even hear you breathe. You can still practice some ujjayi breathing while doing this, which is that slight constriction on the back of your throat. I find it helps to come into ujjayi breathing by even pressing my tongue against the roof of my mouth. And then you're working to create a very quiet, slight snoring sensation. If you can, try out this nostril breathing, working to make your quiet breath sound a little bit like the rise and fall of the ocean. As we lay here in our breath, focusing on ourselves, feel free to set an intention for your class today. Maybe a part of you personally that you need to relax or release and let go. Maybe someone else that you know who just needs a little bit of positive energy, and you can shine your love and light out there. Just send your good juju on to whoever else might need it. We'll take one more minute right here, just relaxing in our Savasana, setting our intention, just being kind to ourselves, honoring whatever it is that our bodies and our minds can bring to our practice and just to our life in general today. Just creating that acceptance for yourself, for whatever happens. Great. We're going to hang out on the floor for a little bit longer before we sit up. So next up, we're going to come into a nice total body stretch, starting with that total body, and then we'll start to narrow our stretches down today with banana pose. So make sure you have some space overhead for your arms. For that means I'm going to have to twist a little bit. Okay. Take it even now and bring those arms up overhead, starting with your body in a nice, beautiful line. Oh, I need to buy a new rug today. But you know what? These are not the things I'm thinking about right now. I'm just thinking about my breath and what I can do with the body and space that I do have, and just being so thankful for it. So keeping your hips ground at the center of your mat, start to walk your legs over to the right as much as they feel comfortable today, and you can just keep your feet side by side, or if it's more comfortable, you can cross your ankle. You can even experiment with crossing the outside ankle over the inside. Find what feels best for you, and then bring your upper body into the game. So you're still keeping the outside edges of both of your glutes on the mat the best that you can, and just finding that big stretch in the side of your body. If you're like me and you came over to the right, a long stretch is happening throughout the whole left side of your body. It's almost like 3 different stretches. A stretch from my fingertips to my armpit, from my armpit to my hip, and from my hip all the way down towards my heels, and together they make that beautiful 4th total banana stretch. So just find whatever stretch feels good for you. Relax back into your breath. Make sure you're still in control. Make sure you're taking these big breaths also low in your diaphragm. So not just breathing into the top of our chest and the tops of our lungs, but big, full, deep belly breaths. So when you inhale, you see your belly rise, maybe even a little rib cage expanding. And on your exhale, you notice your belly fall. Change, let's go to the other side. So if you crossed it or were holding on to something, release it. Take your time, bring yourself upper body back to the center of the mat, legs back to the center of the mat, maybe even shaking out your glutes or your shoulders just a little bit. And then let's go ahead, stay grounded in the middle in your bum on your mat, and move everything to the left side as much as you can. I did not give myself enough space, so I cannot move as much to the left side as I might have hoped, and that's okay. I'm just going to appreciate the space that I do have, the shapes that I can make. So find those first 3 stretches from your wrist through your shoulder, from your armpit through your hip, and from your hip through your heels. And together, create that beautiful banana stretch. Melt into your mat as much as possible. Be as relaxed here as you can. Back to your stillness and your breath. Think about pausing at the top and bottom of each breath. So taking an extra second after that inhale when your belly is full to just really notice and be aware of the fullness. And after that big exhale, maybe even feeling a little bit of a tugging at the lower part of your groin with your belly, your chest, your diaphragm, lungs empty. Awesome. If you crossed it or are holding on, gently release. Go ahead, walk your upper body back towards the center of the mat. Walk your lower body back towards the center of the mat. And use your exhales to relax your arms down by your side. Finding yourself once again right here in your Savasana. We're going to start a little warm up on our hips while we're still on our back, and then we're going to sit up. So next up, let's go for some wind removing pose. So take a moment and bring your heels, toes to touch side by side, making sure that you have that nice alignment in your body. And flex your left toes back up towards your face, even gently pressing the back of your heel, the back of your calf into the mat. Pull that lower belly in, so finding a little engagement of your abdominal core, but still plenty of space for you to breathe through your diaphragm. You're going to draw your right leg up. You can even allow it to fall out heavy to the side, maybe even feeling a little pinching in that hip flexor already as you interlace all 10 fingers nice and flat, 2 inches below the knee. You might have rolled all the way over onto the right side as I did right now, so come back onto your back. Get that left shoulder as close to the mat as you can and flex your left toes back towards your face. Make sure that your right knee, your thigh, does come out a little bit to the side and then up to the shoulder so you're not directly pressing into your rib cage and diaphragm. And then work to find a little bit of length through the crown of your head, a slight tucking of your chin to your chest to get more of your neck and back vertebrae flat on the mat, stretching your elbows down in the direction of your hips as you continue to pull that knee up towards your shoulder, and once again flex your left toes back to your face. Change. Slowly, gently release. Arms come down by your side, back of fingers touch the mat. Heels, toes touch side by side, realigning the lower part of your body. Draw your left leg up, allow it to fall as far over to the left as you want. Interlace those fingers 2 inches below the knee and use your exhale. Might take a couple of exhales to work to bring your shoulders back down towards the mat. And once you get there, reflex your right toes up towards your face, right calf muscle touching the mat, and bring that left knee out to the side once more. And maybe you're just hanging out here and it's not the most comfortable posture, but with time, you'll open up a little bit more and work to bring that left shoulder closer towards your left knee, / left knee closer to your shoulders. Shoulders stay down on the mat. Shoulders rolled down away from ears, elbows stretching towards your hip. Pull that lower belly in once more. Glue that area right below your belly button down towards the mat. Take another slow, deep inhale. Enjoy your lungs full. And exhale. Gently release. Heels, toes touch once more, back of fingertips down on the mat. This time draw both legs up. You can draw them up one at a time, but both knees coming up towards your chest, and then we're going to squeeze them in towards each other. Feet relaxed side by side. Take as comfortable of a grip with your hands as you want. So that might mean just one hand gently pressing on the outside of each knee. Maybe you can grab hold of your opposite fingers while still working to squeeze your thighs together. This time applying some pressure towards your lower belly with the top of those thighs. And then once again, take a slight tucking of your chin to your chest. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Stretch your sacrum to the end of your mat as you stretch through the crown of your head towards the wall behind you. Take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, give yourself some circles with those knees. Just a lighter grip. It's It's okay if your feet separate a little bit or your knees separate a little bit. Maybe you even roll a little bit side to side. Go 2 more times around in this direction, as large or as small knee circles as feel good for you. And then we'll just change direction of those circles. Back to your breath. Can you keep your breath through your nose, or do you need to use your mouth today? All right, we're going to sit ourselves up, so you have the option to either roll over onto your side, take your time and gently press yourself up to a seated position. Maybe you like to rock yourself up like a ball. I like to rock myself up like a ball. And then we're going to come into Sukhasana. You come into Sukhasana. I wrote, oh, it's behind me. It's behind me. Yay. Okay, so here we are in Sukhasana, just some sort of a seated position that feels comfortable for you. I like to take more of a almost lotus version of Sukhasana. I think that's very comfortable for me. For you, it might just mean both feet on the floor. Your Sukhasana, your just comfortable seated position might even be a little bit more like dragonfly. As always, if you find those knees are just really coming up towards your chest and you can't relax the outsides of your legs down on a mat, think about sitting on top of a pillow or just a folded up towel, just anything to help give you a nice little lift. So here we are in our first seated position of the day. Yay! And while we're here, we'll just start off coming back to our breath one more time. First, taking awareness of our breath, then taking awareness of our bodies. So just notice if you're bringing that extra arching or rounding to your upper body, and find a place to relax your hands so that you can work to create that length. Taking that sucking in of your lower belly, it's going to help you to engage your back as well. But if your back is really tired, that might feel uncomfortable. So maybe today you need to keep your hands even behind you gently. Maybe a little pressing into the floor to help you find that openness of your chest, that roll down of shoulders away from your ears. Make sure your chin is neutral to your chest to begin with. All right, we're going to do some shoulder loops. So on your next inhale, I want you to really focus on lifting those shoulders all the way up, stretching them forward. Take a moment here as you're stretching them forward and just notice where you feel the sensation in your back and your belly. And then exhale, releasing them down, finding a little bit more length through the crown of your head. Let's continue with those loops. So inhale up, forward, really stretch them forward, feel that back opening, and exhale down. Inhale up, forward, maybe even turning in towards each other, down. Let's do 3 more. Up, forward, down, up, forward, down. Last one. Up, forward, down. Find a little bit more length through the crown of your head. Belly pulled in. Evaluate your body once more. Did finding that length encourage you to bring that arching? I know that it did for me, so knit that rib cage back together. Really focus on that engagement of your abdominal core. And just relax those hands wherever they feel best, on your lap, on the floor. Maybe holding your own hand. Okay. Take your time with your breath to still find a little bit of length to begin with up from your shoulders. Think about having a pull that's coming from the back of your neck, right where your neck meets your shoulders, and that's still stretching up towards the ceiling. But as you start to take your next exhale, you're just going to bring your head down with your chin coming towards your chest. Work to keep those shoulders nice and open right now. Sit bones ground to the floor. Knit that rib cage back together. All right, let's take a moment in Anjali Mudra or Namaskar. Bring your hands, palms together. Pressing those hands, palms together, a little extra activation of your back. Keep that chin down towards your chest. Take a deep inhale, send those arms up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to bring our hands behind our head. So just bending at the elbow. Think about just gently resting your fingertips against the back of your head, almost like they're floating. So not actually applying pressure and pushing your head down towards your chest, but just finding a little bit more in your shoulders and your back, opening those elbows out as wide as feels good for you today. Knit that rib cage back together, pull your belly back in, find that length from the back of your neck where it meets your spine to stretch up. Still grounding your sit bones. Take a nice deep inhale. And lift your head up. Ooh, open those fingers nice and wide. Hang out here for a moment in your cactus, even drawing those elbows back. Turn your thumbs towards the back of the room and your pinky fingers towards the front. Knit that rib cage back together. Pull your belly in as you start to bring those elbows down by your side. As your fingers come to the floor, feel free to shake it out as you need to. Whoa. All right, let's go ahead and come up onto all fours. So take your time. Intentional in your movements today. We're just going to come right into tabletop. So fingertips opening nice and wide like a starfish. If you're on a mat, think about lining up your pointer finger, your ring finger or your middle finger with the edge of your mat. And just doing your best to have your hands, palms underneath of your chest and your hips on top of your knees. Notice what's happening with your feet. Did they turn in towards each other? Can you press the tops of your feet into the floor and just send your feet directly back behind your knees? Great. We're going to go for a nice quick little shoulder opener here. Starting with the right hand. So press into your left hand palm. Make sure you're not sinking your head down towards the floor. So finding that engagement in your upper body and your abs once more. Eyes follow hand. As you inhale, that right arm up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, bring your right arm underneath of you. Yay, you can stay right here with your left elbow stacked on top of your hand palm. Or you can walk that left hand forward, start to find a little stretch in your left shoulder as well. While you're here, what's happening with your feet? Did your feet start to turn in towards each other? Can you still set the intention of pressing the tops of your feet all the way over towards that baby pinky toe in towards the floor? Just a little bit more engagement of that lower half as well while we stretch those shoulders. And change. Walk your left hand back in if you went for that option. Plant it down on the floor, already starting to engage your chest. Lift yourself up, eyes follow hand one more time. And exhale, relax and release, right hand down towards the floor. Inhale, left arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring that hand palm underneath of your chest, palm facing up towards the ceiling. As you bring your left ear, left shoulder down towards the mat, you can continue to stay active in your upper back and focus a little on the twist by keeping your left hand palm under your elbow and pushing through your palm to the floor, or bringing the shoulder stretch into that right shoulder by walking your hands forward. Remember, you're coming into a stretch where you can continue to breathe the whole time. Awesome. Take one more deep inhale. And then walk your right hand back in. Press your hand palm on the floor. Activate your back. Ooh. Lift yourself up. And then release your left hand down. We're going to keep our hips stacked on top of our heels. And we're coming into our heart opener next. We just worked to open up our shoulders and hopefully our chest a little bit. So start spreading your hands a little bit wider and working to melt that chest down towards the floor. If you cannot get your chest anywhere near the floor, go ahead, fold those hands in. You can even bring your head onto your hands. Just doing your best to keep your glutes, your hips stacked on top of the knees. Feeling a little bit of pressure in that lower back is normal as well. We're just going to take 4 breaths right here. Make sure you do still have your core engaged. Keeping that belly pulled in nice and tight is going to help to keep your back supported in the stretch. All right, get ready to move with intention. We're going to start bringing your chest and shoulders forward to the floor. You can walk your hands forward again for some support in those hands palms as you press into your knees and bring your pubic mound hips forward. Come into child's pose. You'll probably need to walk your elbows out a little bit further. You can even open your legs a little bit wider. Your choice how active or passive you would like to be in your Sphinx pose today, just depending on how tired your back is. If you really want that nice big stretch in your lower back, press into your elbows. Really think of your upper body almost like a rainbow, or like a rainbow going into a pot of gold. So your bum is the pot of gold. And you're just really finding that nice big arch, that engagement of your elbows into the floor. Maybe a little bit of pressure of the tops of your feet into the floor as well. Because engaging that posterior chain is going to help make it a little bit easier to engage your belly and back core. Nice. Take 2 more breaths right here. And then walk your hands in underneath of your shoulders. Maybe give yourself even a little baby cobra right here so eyes can come down to the floor. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, chin comes forward. And when you're ready with that nice slow intention, we're just going to press ourselves back up into tabletop. Tabletop. Yay! Once you make it into tabletop, walk your hands, palms back underneath of your chest and come into cat-cow. Starting with some traditional cat-cow, pressing into your hands, palms, looking towards your knee, your belly button, finding that big rounding in your back. You can stay here for a couple of breaths or change with each breath to find that arch in your back, the pull of your shoulders away from your ears and your eyes up to the ceiling. Still keep that abdominal engagement though, not looking to just let our bellies hang out in cat or cow, staying supportive. Feel free to add in some of those twists side to side. Ay, feels so good. Only you know what feels best for your body today, and sometimes you just have to experiment a little bit. Remember, every day our bodies are different. Every hour our bodies are different. So much of how we feel today is dependent upon your mental health as well. How you're taking care of yourself. Are you eating well? Are you sleeping well? Good for you for making this time to exercise. All right, so next up we're going to come into bird dog. So keeping your right knee and your left hand palm on the floor. Go ahead, extend your right arm and your left leg. Press into your left hand palm. Really find that reach and length. Point your left toe. Try to keep your shoulders square towards each other and make some circles with your ankle, with your wrist in one direction and then in the opposite direction. Go ahead, release your right hand, left knee down to the floor, and same with the other. Extend your right leg behind you, left hand in front of you, point your right toe, press into your right hand palm. No shoulders as earrings, eyes, gaze on the floor. Be as straight of a line as you can be for today. Find your length and then create some circles with your ankles, with your wrist in one direction, in the opposite direction. Beautiful. Bring everything back down into tabletop, and next we will come into a lunge. So just like we do for those bird dog crunches, we're going to work to get a little abdominal engagement. Here you're going to send your right leg back behind you. Keep your hands down on the floor. And then draw that right knee up towards your chest, your nose, and pull it forward. Yay! Pulling it forward. You can either wiggle your right toes forward or you can wiggle your left leg back a little bit. I want you to release that left hip flexor closer towards the mat, finding some pressure of your fingertips into the floor and making the best effort you can to have your right knee stacked on top of the arch of your foot. Think about drawing that right hip back. Oh, it feels so good. And we're keeping our back knee down for some grounding today. Awesome. Go ahead, take one more nice deep inhale. And on your exhale, shift your hips back gently. Place your hands, palms on the floor, and bring your right knee back in line for tabletop. Maybe shake it out a little bit, right and left. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So hands, palms starting underneath of your chest, maybe even a little bit further out. It's totally okay. We're going to extend our left leg behind us. Sure are. And then we're going to draw that left knee all the way up. Find that little bit of a crunch, a little rounding, and then bring it forward the best that you can. Maybe wiggling those toes forward. So as you really shift these hips forward, think about bringing your right hip forward, left hip back, and squared down towards the mat. Shoulders pulling away from your ears. And even come up onto those fingertips a little bit more. Lifted length. Coming into the depth of the stretch that, remember, might feel a little bit of discomfort, shouldn't feel like pain, and you can still breathe easily. Go ahead, take one more nice deep breath here. Shoulders away from ears. And then start to bring your hips back towards your heels. Walk your hands in. Bring that left leg back to meet the right. With your knees together to begin with, we're going to go for a little child's pose. Knees together, child's pose. We have extended child's pose coming up, I promise. You can walk your hands as far forward as feels comfortable for you to bring the stretch into your shoulders, but don't lose out on the stretch of your hips towards your heels. All right, pull yourself forward. How is it already? How are we almost done already? No fair. We're gonna come into another big lunge. So this time I want you to tuck your toes under. Take a moment to send your hips up towards the ceiling. You can even walk it out a little bit. And down dog. And then let's go ahead, lift that right leg up. Same as you did just a moment ago. Draw that knee forward. And then bring it down to the floor. We'll release that left leg back down to the floor again. However, this time we're going to enjoy a nice big twist. So bring your chest and shoulders forward. Keep your left hand down on the mat and inhale your right arm up towards the ceiling. Relax and release those shoulders down away from your ears. Find as much lifted length as you can. Can you keep all 5 of the fingers on your right hand together, side by side as well? And change. Relax and release that right hand down towards the floor. Walk your hips back towards your heels. For a nice little reverse split, you can keep your right toes down on the floor, or for more of a stretch, flex your right toes back towards your face. Do your best to gently shift your weight a little bit over to the right side so that your left heel is stacked on top of your left glute. And change. Bring your right toes back down, walk your hands forward. Bring your right hand to the inside. Tuck your left toes under. Press yourself back up into that lifted lunge and send your right leg back to meet with your left. Take a moment right here in your plank. Find your length. Bring your shoulders gently forward, hips stacked on top of heels, belly tight. Take a nice deep inhale and send your hips up to the ceiling. Ground your right foot down. We're going to lift our left legs up. Take a deep inhale, exhale, bring that left leg forward, crunch that knee towards the nose the best you can, shoulders shift forward, and then bring your foot down to the mat. And relax and release that right knee back down towards the mat. Find that length from your shoulders. So taking that rounding out of your back, stretching through the crown of your head. So bring your right hip forward, left hip back. Find a place to glue your right hand down on the mat and send your left arm up towards the ceiling, enjoying that twist on this side. All 5 fingers touching each other the best you can with that left wrist stacked on top of your left shoulder, stacked on top of your right shoulder, stacked on top of your right hand palm. And remember, it's just the best you can and it's always enough. And change slowly, gently. Rain your left hand fingertips down to the inside of your left foot. Walk your hand back, your hands back. As your glutes come closer towards your heels, you can bring your hand to the outside for a little more balance. My bad. You can keep your left toe down, or to find more of a stretch on your hamstring, flex your left toes back towards your face. Big stretch all over the back of the left leg. Shift the weight slightly to the left to keep the focus on the left leg. Right glute stacks on top of right heel, toes pointing directly behind you. Change. Bring those toes back to the floor if you lifted them. Walk your hands forward. Bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot. Lift your right knee up off the floor, tucking your right toes under. Go ahead, send your left leg back to meet your right. Take one more moment right here, one more engagement of your abs in your plank. And then relax and release your knees down to the mat. Bring your toes together, open your knees up even wider, send your hips back to your heels for some extended child's pose. How about for our extended child's pose, we really relax our shoulders and bring our arms all the way down by our sides, so palms face up towards the ceiling. You can even turn your head to one side to be a little bit more relaxed, like a baby, allowing those shoulders to curl down towards the floor. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. My shoulders are nowhere near the floor, but this is very relaxing. All right, if you have your head turned to one side, pick your head up, turn your head to the opposite side just for a nice equal stretch on both sides of the neck. Take your time, bring your hands underneath of your chest and gently press yourself up to a seated position. We'll just take a moment right here in kneeling. And as you're ready, go ahead. Shift your weight over to the right side. Bring your glutes back down towards the mat. Turn over. Let's come onto our backs. Take your time. We're coming into our final Savasana. I know. So fast. This time here in final Savasana, feel free to open your arms as wide as you want, open your legs as wide as you want, just truly coming into the most comfortable stillness you can find. So you can relax and release your belly, relax and release your mind, your jaw, your glutes, anything that you can. No longer any need for tension, truly just breath and stillness. Take a moment, check in with yourself and your breath once more. Come back to whatever the intention was that you set for class today. Just notice how you feel about it. That's it. Just taking notice. Continue to inhale in awareness and exhale out all that does not serve you. And if you find yourself feeling any sort of stress or discomfort this weekend, just come back to that same breath as slow as you possibly can. Intentional, focused, and honoring of yourself. You are welcome to stay here in this Savasana for as long as feels good for you today. If you would like to close up practice together, take your time, make your way back to the seated position of your choice. And we'll once again bring our hands, palms to the center of our chest in Namaskar, thumbs touching on the sternum. Just like we started class, ending class tucking that chin to our chest to truly honor yourself. Take a moment to thank yourself for making this time and creating this energy within you that you can share with others. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that we said or did today, please reach out. Continue to think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds, nourish yourself from the inside and out. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you for coming and sharing your energy. Namaste. Thanks, guys.